Hey guys, this is Udi. Today I think what we'll do is we'll have a look at SynthMaster One, and reason is because SynthMaster One 1.2 is out today, and I thought that would be a great opportunity for us to cover this wonderful synthesizer. And SynthMaster One is coming from KV331 Audio, same guys that make SynthMaster 2 and SynthMaster Player. So SynthMaster 2 is the full-fledged Swiss knife, Swiss Army knife of synthesis. It really is wonderful, and it can do pretty much anything. So check it out. I have a video covering that in my channel. SynthMaster Player, on the other hand, that's a boxed out kind of synthesizer. It only have the ability to run patches. So you have all the patches here, all the presets, and that's it. You have some knobs here that you can play with, but you can't really change the settings, the routing or whatever. So if you're not into synthesis and you just want great sounding presets, then this is really a good option. You can buy more packages of presets here, and I mean, for the price, this is really great. I mean, it is really a cheap option for you, and it's also a good opportunity for you to know and hear what kind of sounds you can get from SynthMaster, and if you like it, you can then upgrade to SynthMaster 2 or maybe SynthMaster 1. Again, really great option. So SynthMaster One is all-in-one synthesizer. It is a wavetable synthesizer, but it does allow you to configure basic waveforms as well, of course. And before we begin, I just want to let you know that I've placed a link to Plugin Boutique. If you want to purchase this synthesizer, I'm affiliated with Plugin Boutique, and if you buy whatever using my links, then I get a little something, and that will make me a little bit happier. And you don't have to do it. So you can buy the same synthesizers directly from KV331 Audio from synthmaster.com, and that's cool. So let's get started. SynthMaster One is really all-in-one. So what you see is what you get. You have two oscillators. Each one also have a sub oscillator here that can be used to add some sounds or to manipulate, to modulate the oscillator itself. So you have oscillator 1, sub 1, oscillator 2, sub 2. You also have filter 1, filter 2, and you have a bunch of modulators here like LFO 1, mode envelope, amp envelope 1, and so on. So not a lot of options here, but that's pretty much all we need to get some great sounding patches. You also have arpeggiator, which is pretty awesome. It's really easy to use, and you can get some really cool, sequences and arpeggiators with that. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you also have the modulation matrices. You have mode 1 and mode 2. The only difference is you have six slots here and another 6 here. And that's it. And then you can also browse through the presets, and let's just select something and hear it out. I'll just clear the filter here. Let's clear it. And you can just click the star here, and that will be a favorite. Right? These are my favorites. Nice. So let's go back to the synth, clicking here, and now. So when you want to create a sound, what you need to do is you need to understand the flow and how the signal is routed through all the components here. So let's go to the init preset here, init preset, and we'll see what we get. So we have oscillator 1 turned on here, and that's it, nothing else. If we go to the matrices, you see there's no routing, nothing is configured. So I think the best is to right-click waveform and see what we get. So the oscillator has the options to run some basic shapes here, like sine wave, triangle, and so on. But you also have waveforms. So you have basic waveforms. You have the analog sampled waveforms, all kinds of things that we have here. Let's select something here. This is the shape, right? Let's hear it. So that's it, nothing happens, nothing really fancy, and we don't have any effects running or anything at all. So that's it, that's what we get. Now, we also have the ability to change the octave here. For example, I can just +1. And if we combine oscillator 1 and oscillator 2, then it makes sense, right? So let's go to oscillator 2 and select whatever wave shape. And let's even select the same wave shape, or close to it. And I'll select something else, for example, -1. And this is the way to do it. So you have the octave here. Let's check oscillator 2 out here. And what we're seeing here in the middle is our routing map. So we have the sub oscillator here that can oscillate oscillator 1. And we have the filters. Now, right now, none of the filter is turned on. Let's turn on filter 1. And we see the type here. So we have lots of options. We have ladder, which is, I think, sampled from Moog. And we have other options here that are sampled from other synthesizers. You can check out the user manual to see the details. So let's just take a low pass here. And this is the low pass, right? So it's pretty easy to understand what it is that we are doing. And I can change the cutoff. I can add some resonance. And we'll play with that in a moment with the cutoff. I can introduce some drive here and input gain. And we have some options here to add some LFOs. So this is already very, very cool. I mean, you don't need to do anything special. You don't need to know exactly how to route things. You already have an LFO injected right into the filter. So it's pretty cool. And we have some other options like acid and boost that will give you some changes on the volume and boosting some stuff here. So this is really nice as it is. Now, in order for us to get the sound going here and to have it shaped, we usually use envelopes. So right now, if you look at the amp envelope here, you'll see that, I mean, this is exactly what we are hearing. Let's get the release a little bit higher. So this is the amp envelope. That's the envelope that controls our amplifier. So if we want to have like a pad, for example, so usually the attack is really long. Okay, so now in order for us to get the sound even thicker, what we usually do is we change the number of oscillators that run in parallel, and that's the unison. So I can have up to 16 oscillators, unison voices running in parallel. Let's take 4, for example, and we can have some detuning running here, because if they're all tuned the same, they're all doing the same, you know, the same kind of sound, the same phase and everything, you'll just get the volume, you'll just get more gain, and that's not, you know, what we want. What we want is to have a thicker and wider sound, so that's why we're using some detuning here. And we can also add some phase changes here, right? And we have some width. That will be a more stereo panning kind of play here. And now we can introduce the sub oscillator here at this point. So let's do that. Select another wave type, waveform here. Let's add some noise. But we can also change the mode here and have amp modulation, ring modulation, phase or frequency modulations. And let's select something else, a sine wave. So that's the oscillator, and I know I didn't go through everything here, but again, go to the manual or play with it and you'll see exactly what it does. So, sorry. So that's the oscillator, and I can introduce another oscillator here. And again, we see the map. We see exactly what's happening. And what nice about this is that you can see exactly how the sound is routed. And what we can do is we can have the filters here run in three ways. You can have a split mode, parallel, and series. So right now we are in series. It means that filter 1 goes into filter 2 before it goes to the amp, but we can have it in parallel. So both of these oscillators go into both of them, both of the filters, and then go to the amplifier. But we can also have a split. So the split means oscillator 1 goes to filter 1 and then to the amp, and oscillator 2 goes to filter 2 and then to the amp. So that's an option too. So let's check in filter 2. And I can also play a little bit with the mode envelope for 2 here. Right, so now that we understand how to create some basic sounds, we can also add some effects, or we can also add some modulations. For example, we can take LFO1 and shape whatever we want. So we can shape, for example, the phase here, or the width. So let's hear what that does. So we understand that changing the width here will give us some sort of a sound that maybe we should automate. So we'll take LFO1 and just drag it and drop it on widths here. And immediately you see this little ring here. And you see the dot running. And what's happening is that it is running in a certain rate. So we can have this synced to our DAW and select exactly what type of sync it will be. I mean, what's the fraction it will be. So let's take 16ths. know, I can push the volume more or less, and that will be introducing the LFO in a more visible or hearable, audible way. So that's the LFO, and I have another envelope that I can use, for example, and drop it on my filter, here on the filter itself. So I can take this mode and drop it here, and now we have this envelope controlling the volume of this filter. Right, so now before we move on, I think what will make sense is to see what's going on here with the effects. So I can have 5 effects here, 5 insert effects, and let's just, you know, use let's introduce the reverb, or yeah, let's take the reverb and turn it on. I have a mix knob here, so I can just take it down a little bit. Can also add some delay and sync it to 1/8 and 1/16. I also have some EQ here for the delay. Do a ping pong. And so on. So I can also right click on any of these slots and select some other type of effects. And we even have a vocoder, and we can use the vocoder when we're introducing this synth on a MIDI. I mean, sending MIDI information into SynthMaster through an audio track, and then you can vocode that. We can have ensemble, which is kind of sort of a chorus effect. So let's hear it. So that's already very, very nice. So I think the last interesting part here is the arpeggiator. And again, I'm not going very deep here, just to give you a sense of what it is. So let's turn it on and see what it does right off the bat here. It just goes through 8 steps, right? So, and that's the bass time here. So let's change the bass time to 16ths. So it just goes through these 8 steps in 16ths, and I can also change, and you know, I can just say, okay, the next step here will do something else, right? Not the same note. You can see that I can actually create chords, right? So this is my my piano roll, and you can see I can drag it up and down, and this is my root note here, and I can have, like, you know, C chord, and then, you know, whatever chord, you know, some other chord. It doesn't sound very good right now, but that's the idea, right? So let's just check those out here. And Going back to the basics. So we have something like that. So that's the basic idea here, but the mode is what we care about here. We have all kinds of options. We have chords, we have arpeggiate, we have a sequence. This is what you're seeing right now. That's the sequence, but we can have arpeggiator. So it shows me the degrees, first, second, third, so on. As you can see, I can change the duration, I can introduce more swing here. And I think that's just about it. So I'm sure there are some options here that I skipped. I'm pretty certain, but that's okay. Play with it, try it out, try some of the presets and see how they are set, because it's pretty easy to understand how they are configured, and have fun. So that's it for now. And if you like this video and you know, it makes you happy, then just click subscribe so you'll get notified when I upload more videos. So see you on the next video. Bye.
SynthMaster One.